What's up, guys? Today we are on the 18th shelf of my wrestling collection. We start off with Hell in a Cell. Some pretty solid matches here. Kelly Kelly versus Beth Phoenix. Kelly Kelly can't wrestle, we all know that. Cody Rhodes and John Morrison was a decent match. We got Air Boom versus Dolph Ziggler and Jack Swagger. Random put together team there. Sin Cara versus Sin Cara was not good. Sheamus and Christian was decent. Then you got Mark Henry and Randy Orton with the Hall of Pain. John Cena, CM Punk, and Alberto Del Rio. I am not a fan of Alberto Del Rio personally. Never thought he was really that great, but he was good on the mic, and that was about it. Then we have Vengeance 2011. Sheamus and Christian again. And then we've got Air Boom versus Jack Swagger and Dolph Ziggler again. Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton for the Intercontinental title. That I don't really remember the whole storyline behind that, but it's surprising to see Randy Orton in a mid-card title match. Then we have Mark Henry and the Big Show. I like this Hall of Pain push for Mark Henry. Dolph Ziggler versus Zack Ryder. So Dolph Ziggler pulling double duty here. Beth Phoenix and Eve. Eve is another one who couldn't really wrestle. Triple H and CM Punk versus The Miz and R-Truth. Interesting storyline with CM Punk. I thought they were handling real well at this point. And then Del Rio and John Cena. Meh. Then we have Survivor Series, which was one of the more hyped Survivor Series in a long time since The Rock was returning. And this is when they started to not have a lot of the cards in the back, it looks like here. Del Rio and Punk, this is where Punk's reign as champion begins. Then you've got the Hall of Pain with Mark Henry and Big Show. John Cena and The Rock versus The Miz and R-Truth. So, I mean, from what I can remember, this was a pretty decent Survivor Series. Then we have TLC, which, of course, the last pay-per-views of the year never really seemed to do very well. You got Dolph Ziggler versus Zack Ryder again for the U.S. belt. Cody Rhodes versus Booker T. And this was Booker T past his prime here, too. He wasn't even really wrestling full-time. Randy Orton and Wade Barrett. Mark Henry versus Big Show. Again, Hall of Pain. Triple H and Kevin Nash was decent. Nice to see kind of like an old school match. Then you got CM Punk, Alberto Del Rio, and The Miz for the WWE title. So, I mean, pretty solid. And then, of course, you got the Royal Rumble. Never go wrong with the Royal Rumble. Got John Cena versus Kane. CM Punk versus Dolph Ziggler. Daniel Bryan versus Mark Henry versus Big Show. Interesting. Then you got the Royal Rumble match, of course. So, I mean, okay, this was not the best Royal Rumble, but it was still pretty good. Then you've got Elimination Chamber. As you can see, they're really thin on the roster, so they're pushing a lot of people who normally wouldn't be in these matches. Beth Phoenix and Tamina. Tamina couldn't wrestle very well, but she could wrestle better than Eve and all those, divas. John Cena versus Kane was an okay match. Daniel Bryan, Great Khali, Big Show, Santino Marella, Wade Barrett, and Cody Rhodes. People were really behind Santino, and they teased him almost winning both this Elimination Chamber, and he did well in the Rumble. And fans were really behind it. I'm surprised they didn't roll with that. Then you have CM Punk, Kofi Kingston, Chris Jericho, Dolph Ziggler, The Miz, and R-Truth. Probably the better of the two Elimination Chamber matches right there. Then you've got WrestleMania 28. Not the best WrestleMania, but better than 27. Kelly Kelly and Maria Menounos versus Beth Phoenix and Eve. It was more of just to get Maria Menounos on the card, I guess. Randy Orton and Kane, not very good. Cody Rhodes and Big Show, not very good. Team Teddy, Booker T, Great Khali, R-Truth, Santino Marella, Kofi Kingston, and Zack Ryder versus Jack Swagger, Drew McIntyre, David Otunga, Mark Henry, Dolph Ziggler, and The Miz. You know, this felt like something that should have been in the Survivor Series, but these are all talents that no one really cares about. I think it was just more to get them all on the card. Daniel Bryan and Sheamus was a short match. Oh man, I think it was the shortest match in WrestleMania history at this point. CM Punk and Jericho was a great match. They really knew how to work, boy. Triple H and The Undertaker, rematch from the previous year. No one got hurt this time, so it was a lot better. And they threw Shawn Michaels in there trying to screw The Undertaker. And then, of course, you got The Rock versus John Cena, which was a classic. Everyone wanted to see that. Then you've got the return of Brock Lesnar and Extreme Rules. The pop when Brock Lesnar came back was phenomenal. I loved it. Got Randy Orton versus Kane, you know. Again, Kane, you know, no offense to Kane, but, you know, his matches, you know, just didn't seem to have the hype they used to. Big Show and Cody Rhodes in the tables match. I liked it with Big Show stepping through the table when trying to get back into the ring. And he lost the match because of it. I loved that ending, just because he didn't see it coming. Sheamus and Daniel Bryan in a 2 out of 3 falls match after that debacle at WrestleMania 28 for Daniel Bryan. CM Punk and Chris Jericho was a good match. Nikki Bella and Layla was a good match. Nikki Bella really carrying the Divas division here. And then, of course, John Cena and Brock Lesnar. Great match. Then you've got Over the Limit. Layla and Beth Phoenix for the Divas title. You know, at least they got some Divas who can wrestle here. Kofi Kingston and R-Truth versus Jack Swagger and Dolph Ziggler. So again, random put together tag teams here. John Cena and John Laurinaitis was great for storyline purposes. Sheamus versus Alberto Del Rio versus Chris Jericho versus Randy Orton was kind of a random mashup. Then you got CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, which was a wrestling classic, that's for sure. Then you have No Way Out. Layla and Beth Phoenix again. Tuxedo match, Santino Marella and Ricardo Rodriguez. You know, Santino was really over at this point. Christian versus Cody Rhodes for the Intercontinental belt. Kind of sad not to see Christian in the main event still. Sheamus and Dolph Ziggler. You know, Dolph Ziggler, again, another underutilized talent. CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, and Kane. They were trying to give, you know, CM Punk an aura of he could lose the belt here. And then you've got John Cena and the Big Show, which was, you know, good for a Big Show match. John Cena and Big Show always used to see, you know, they seem to work well together. Then you have Money in the Bank. John Cena versus Kane versus Chris Jericho versus Big Show versus The Miz for the WWE Money in the Bank contract. You know, great for storyline purposes. World Heavyweight ladder match was Christian, Dolph Ziggler, Tensai, Santino Marella, Damian Sandow, Tyson Kidd, Cody Rhodes, and Sin Cara. I mean, they're all undercard people where they were just trying to, you know, oh, we can have one main event person and one not main event person have a briefcase. CM Punk and Daniel Bryan again with AJ as the referee was interesting. And then Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio, not very good. Then you've got SummerSlam. You know, CM Punk, John Cena, and Big Show was a pretty decent match. They were, again, trying to give the aura that, you know, CM Punk could lose here, even without losing. You've got Kane versus Daniel Bryan. I believe this was the start of Team Hell No. Chris Jericho and Dolph Ziggler was a pretty good match. Sheamus and Del Rio, not so much. And then Brock Lesnar and Triple H. You know, great for storyline purposes. So, pretty good SummerSlam. Then you've got Night of Champions, the match everyone wanted to see at the time. Layla and Eve, not very good. Antonio Cesaro versus Zack Ryder. You know, I love Cesaro. Again, another underutilized guy. Randy Orton and Dolph Ziggler, great match. But everyone wanted to see CM Punk and John Cena. So, and that was great. That was a great match. Then you've got Hell in a Cell. Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara versus the Primetime Players. Just trying to find something for Sin Cara to do, I'm sure, at this point. Eve, Layla, and Caitlyn, not very good. The Miz and Kofi Kingston was a good match. Then you got Team Hell No versus the Team Rhodes Scholars. Both great tag teams. I loved them both. Randy Orton versus Alberto Del Rio. You know, bringing out the best out of Del Rio that he could. Sheamus and Big Show, they are really pushing Sheamus here, and I'm not, you know, he's okay. CM Punk and Ryback, I did like this storyline with John Cena using, you know, Ryback. I don't think they really did as much as they could have with Ryback, but that's just me, I guess. Then we've got Survivor Series. Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara versus the Primetime Players again. Then you got Cesaro and R-Truth. Even Caitlyn, not a good match. Big Show and Sheamus, not a good match. I even forgot they put the belt on Big Show here for a second there. Then you've got Team Hell No and Randy Orton versus Kofi Kingston and The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler, Damian Sandow, David Otunga, Alberto Del Rio, and Wade Barrett. And that was okay. And then you've got CM Punk, John Cena, and Ryback, which was actually a really, really good match in the debut of the Shield. Then we've got TLC. You know, see, again, they don't really have the matches here, but you can see that it's Ryback versus the Shield after getting screwed out of the belt. You know, they still made Ryback look strong because he was facing 3 guys. But, yeah, I think they underutilized him for sure. Then you got AJ with Dolph Ziggler and John Cena. Again, very interesting storylines with AJ at this point. Then we've got the Royal Rumble and the return of The Rock. I loved that they put the belt back on The Rock. CM Punk and The Rock was a great match. You know, I'm not, you know, CM Punk says that The Rock should have never won the match, but I disagree. But at the same time, I don't think they used CM Punk very well after WrestleMania 29. But then you got the Royal Rumble match, which was, you kind of knew it was going to be John Cena because they wanted to have the rematch. So storyline-wise, it made sense. Then you got Team Hell No and Team Rhodes Scholars, the only 2 really good tag teams in the WWE at this point. And then you got Alberto Del Rio and the Big Show, which was not good. Then you've got Elimination Chamber and the rematch. I love the storyline between these 2. Caitlyn and Tamina Snuka, not good. Cesaro and The Miz was a really solid match. Then you had Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan, Chris Jericho, Mark Henry, Kane, and Jack Swagger in the Elimination Chamber. A lot of good names there, so nice. John Cena and Ryback and Sheamus versus the Shield. You know, they're trying to make the Shield the big heels at this point. You got Del Rio and the Big Show, again, not very good. Then you got The Rock and CM Punk, which was great. Then we've got WrestleMania 29. Got Chris Jericho and Fandango. The fact that they had Chris Jericho lose there was a surprise. Team Hell No versus Dolph Ziggler and Big E Langston. Good match. Ryback and Mark Henry. At this point, they were still trying to, push Ryback, but they didn't seem to be doing it in the right way. Randy Orton, Sheamus, and The Big Show now versus The Shield. Triple H and Brock Lesnar was a great match. Undertaker and CM Punk was a great match. Del Rio and Swagger was even a very solid match. One of the more solid matches out of Del Rio that he had at that point. Probably more because of what Jack Swagger brought to the table. Then you've got The Rock and John Cena in the rematch, which you knew Cena was going to win at this point, which kind of sucked. I don't like it when you know for sure what the outcome is already going to be, especially in the main event of a WrestleMania. Then you've got Extreme Rules. I believe before he got hurt, it was supposed to be Brock Lesnar and The Rock, but The Rock did get hurt at WrestleMania, so yep, we got The Miz and Cody Rhodes, which was a okay match. But yeah, see, you had the 3 stages of hell, I believe, with Ryback and John Cena. Triple H and Brock Lesnar was a great match. The Shield, Randy Orton, Sheamus. It was pretty solid pay-per-view right here. Then you've got Payback. Caitlyn and AJ Lee, not very good. AJ Lee and Nikki Bella were really the only ones, and Brie Bella were the only ones who could really wrestle at this point. Dean Ambrose, who they were pushing to be the main guy out of the Shield, versus Kane for the U.S. belt. You got Wade Barrett, The Miz, and Curtis Axel for the Intercontinental belt. I liked it that they were trying to develop the mid-card here. Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan. Why it wasn't Kane and Daniel Bryan, I don't know. But CM Punk and Jericho was a great match. They brought CM Punk back well. Dolph Ziggler versus Alberto Del Rio. Vince McMahon was real high on Del Rio. And then you got John Cena and Ryback in their 3 stages of hell. Then we've got Money in the Bank. Chris Jericho and Ryback. They're still trying to push Ryback. Then you've got, all the mid-card guys in the Money in the Bank, just like the previous year. Dean Ambrose, Fandango, Cesaro, Jack Swagger, Damian Sandow, Cody Rhodes, and Wade Barrett. AJ Lee and Caitlyn again. Wow. Curtis Axel and The Miz. I like that they were pushing Curtis Axel. Paul Heyman guy. Alberto Del Rio versus Dolph Ziggler again. Then you got John Cena and the returning Mark Henry. Great way to bring back Mark Henry here. Rob Van Dam, the returning Rob Van Dam. CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, Christian, and Sheamus. All the main eventers in that Money in the Bank match. So that made that interesting. And then we've got SummerSlam in the beginning of The Authority. And that doesn't really show a lot. But you had Bray Wyatt and Kane in an Inferno match. Christian versus Alberto Del Rio. This was towards the end of Christian's WWE career. And then CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar was great. And you had Daniel Bryan versus John Cena for the WWE title, which was a great match. And I love the angle of Randy Orton cashing in to screw Daniel Bryan out of the belt. Fans were so hyped when Daniel Bryan won that belt. And then to have it just taken away from him. Started the whole build up to WrestleMania 30, which was definitely a fever pitch there. But that does it for this shelf. If you like content like this, please like and subscribe. Your support is much appreciated. I'm also on Letterboxd, which the link is over in the profile of this page. Otherwise, until next time, have a good one, guys.